and welcome to Members on the Mic with the Troy Chamber of Commerce, where we connect with Troy Chamber members as they give us a glimpse into their company and share some of the business lessons they've learned along the way. Hi, everyone. I'm Tara Tomczyk-Husak, President and CEO of the Troy Chamber of Commerce, and I'm joined today by our lovely co-host and Vice President of the Chamber, Sheila Denstead.
Hi, everyone.
Firstly, I'd like to take a moment and thank our presenting sponsor, Trion Solutions. Stay tuned for our very first commercial break where you can learn how you can rely on Trion. So Sheila, we've got a great guest ahead of us. Let's do some intros.
I would love to. Today we're meeting with Evan Walker. Evan is a founder of ProcessOps, where he helps early stage teams turn operational chaos into clarity. With a decade in project and program management, he's built and optimized systems at startups and scaling companies alike. Evan's passion is equipping founders with plug-and-play workflows using free or non-code tools to streamline client onboarding, automate repetitive tasks, and scale confidentially. And I'm going to go back to chaos. We need help. Okay, go, Evan.
Hey, what are you saying? No, I'm just teasing. So, Evan, thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, we're really excited to have you here today. So, one big question I have just to kind of get things going is we hear a lot of companies struggling to find the balance between micromanaging and letting things kind of just fall to the wayside. There's that happy middle we're always trying to find. But when it comes to visibility versus control, how are smaller teams able to shift to high visibility operations and drive some accountability in the process?
Of course, and thank you so much for having me first and foremost, and that's a great question. I think that founders really, they struggle with letting go of the reins. It's their baby. They're creating it from the scratch, so you expect that to happen. So one of the things that I found is when they start to hire new employees, they start to micromanage them. They want everything to be done the same way that they've done it, and they don't really have any processes in place to make sure that it happens. So what I like to do is to have them take a step back and define exactly what it is that they think is the perfect process for what it is they're trying to accomplish. And then we're going to create documentation around that, whether that be an SOP, whether that be a visual map, or however it is that's going to be best for them. I like to couple that all so that when they're not on the job, that employee is able to go to a resource and see exactly how it should be done and give them more autonomy instead of having someone breathing down their neck.
So when you're doing something like that, you're really having this one-on-one conversation with that founder, with that leader. Are you also meeting with some of like maybe the chief operating officer, maybe one of the new hires? And is there sometimes that dissonance between finding what's the right process versus one person versus another?
100%. I think the larger the team, the more dissonance there is. There's going to be individuals that were brought on for a particular reason. They're going to be the subject matter expert, and that's why they were hired. So because of that, they want to do things the way that they see fit. Now, there's always going to be that gap between what CEO wants and what the individual contributor wants. So we got to connect the gap and try to figure out what's going to actually work for everybody to still deliver that autonomy, but achieve it the way the CEO wants it to be done.
You're an autonomy peacemaker.
I am.
Oh, man.
I try to be at least.
Well, now, I have a question on that before I get to the question I have here. So what if you're dealing with an owner or founder who their thought process, how they've been doing things for years, isn't necessarily working, and you want to slowly guide them into a process that would work better, hearing what you're hearing from their employees? How do you gently bring that to the forefront?
That's the key word is gently.
Gently.
Because if you do it the wrong way, you're you're out of the picture.
Yeah.
So I think what it comes down to for that is just understanding why they think it's worked and like what's worked for them in the past. Explain it to me. Why is this working for you now? What has it worked for in the past? And why are you against the change necessarily moving forward? There might be a knowledge gap. There might be just a misunderstanding of the technology or the reason of why behind it. So understanding where they're coming from, what their points of pain are, and then relaying that in a way that's going to allow them to see, hey, we're both on the same team. I'm trying to help you accomplish what it is that you're going to accomplish and what you want. I'm going to show you why this is a better way. And this is X, Y, and Z.
Love it. Love it. So are there tools or websites that these companies can use to help them as they automate? Are there free tools? Are they costly? Tell us all about that.
Yeah, I think now is the time of AI. And if you can utilize AI and learn the value of prompt engineering and put that in the forefront of your business, I think there is a lot of value there to be able to create different automations, learn how to code, things of that nature. I know when I first started out, I did use ChatGPT a lot just to start to understand Python and the language behind it and what's going on in there. And then took that to further develop my skill set. So definitely think people should utilize AI if they're a sole person with their company or if they have a small team. And then outside of that, there's a lot of different tools out there that they can use for a multitude of different things. Notion being one, which is a great tool
We
to
know
use
Notion,
for.
yeah.
Yeah, so you can
We
create
had an employee who was addicted to it. We would laugh about it.
Oh, it's great. You can get addicted to these tools very quickly, especially with them being free. You don't got to pay for it.
Correct.
So you can create client dashboards there. You can create your SOPs, different documentations, different sources of truth for your company to have different teams go to different different spots to get their resources. There's things like Google App Scripts, which you can utilize with any of the Google workforce, and you can actually automate different things within those tools. So I built out a great tool that I would love for small business owners to utilize for a client management dashboard, as well as a intake form and a client-facing intake dashboard for that as well. So all of this was done with the Google Workspace. Everything is just download, plug and play, ready to go. And you can create a lot of different tools like that using things of that nature.
And what was the name of that one again that you guys created?
That is on mine. That's just the Small Business Toolkit.
Okay.
And it is a Google Workforce. You use Google App Scripts, and you can actually put into whether it be the Google Sheets or whether it be Google Docs or whatever you're utilizing within that workspace, you can use app scripts to create different automations within these tool sets.
That's right. I know. We're like,
we have
can
that.
you help us?
Yeah, what are you doing later?
So guys, I think this is a great moment to take a quick break and hear a word from our presenting sponsor, Trion Solutions. We'll be right back.
I'm Joe Vicari, President and CEO of the Joe Vicari Restaurant Group, which encompasses 24 restaurants throughout the country. With the addition of Trion, our general managers don't have to spend hours doing paperwork and putting people in our system. All that's done by Trion now, so they can work on what they are there to do, take care of our customers. That's why we rely on Trion.
You can always rely on Trion.
Welcome back to Members on the Mic with the Troy Chamber. We are here with Evan with ProcessOps, and we've been talking a little bit about tools and different things that you guys can help to provide with. But let's talk some SOPs. You mentioned SOPs before that. So I will say a fault of mine, and I'm going to lean. I used to work at a place, and my SOPs looked more like a handbook by the time I put so many details in it, which we realized no one would read. And I understand because I didn't even read it after I did it. But could you talk me through how do we get a very streamlined, precise style SOP without getting a little overboard on details and finding that balance for the company to get this out to their employees?
Yeah, and it's a very fine line because SOPs, in my opinion, should be extremely detailed. I think that they need to be coupled with a couple of other things, though, such as a process map so that you can actually visually see this. Then that's going to be more of the laid back version, if you will.
So not the novel I
Not
wrote.
the novel
okay,
that
wonderful.
you wrote,
Okay.
right? But everybody likes a good novel. So
Mine
I
weren't
think,
that good. Okay.
I think that if you are going to attack an SOP, like I said, it does need to be very detailed, but to a point. If you're writing an SOP for a host at a restaurant, you don't need to put say hello when customer comes in or, open the door in order to enter the store. You don't need to put those tasks that are just common sense, but you would like to, I always like to think of it, if there's a 10-year-old in the room, that 10-year-old should be able to take this document and be able to perform the task that SOP is for.
Oh.
So I really like to do that, but then couple it with a process map that visualizes everything. And they're able to just say, okay, this is step 1, step 2, step 3. And it's not as detailed, but it's still able to accomplish that. And then also another free tool, Loomis, you can create training videos to go along with those SOPs with the visual process map, and then finally have that training video to bring it all together so that people who might like novels go to the SOP, people who are more visual learners go to the process map, and people who need that auditory walkthrough, here's your Loomis video.
So you're really appeasing all learning styles.
100%.
And so that this is one like kind of complete package, but there's certain people who you can tell them what to do and they'll process it and they'll be like, oh, that's how I do it. But then the ones who have to read and really see every focused detail, you're really kind of targeting all of those aspects.
100%. I don't like to leave anybody out. I think that if you start to just cater to one group, you're going to not be able to achieve diversity. And diversity, as you guys know, it's very important, especially in today's day and age. So being able to cater to a wide audience is, I think, the most important piece.
It's inclusive. You're
Yeah.
creating inclusivity, even in an SOP.
Exactly.
Pretty impressive.
Again, we always laugh because sometimes certain questions lead into other ones. And I think this next question is just that. With so many people working at home, working in offices, it's really hard to keep everybody keeping them aligned. What are some effective ways to replace like status meetings with clear updates that kind of keep everyone on the same page, even though their page might be at home and their page might be in the office and their page might be at the local coffee shop?
Yeah. I am a big fan of dashboards. I think that you can build a dashboard for just about everything. In my days as a program and project manager, I would have dashboards that talked about different project tasks, where we were at with that. If there's a dependency on that task, why is it dependent on that? And when are we going to attack that dependency? You can create dashboards that are going to provide specific updates to specific shareholders and automate those different, updates to those people and things of that nature. But I think that the key to getting away from those status updates is having those sources of truth. And what I mean by that is just one single place that somebody can go to get information about said certain topic. So
15 CRMs is not really effective.
No, not today.
Good,
Sometimes,
okay.
Back in the day, maybe, but not anymore. I think that the less tools, the better. And it allows people to not be confused. And again, going back to those sources of truth, what I like to do is if Microsoft Teams or whether that be Google, I'll create one channel where weekly we're going to be giving status updates. I'll link out to the dashboards that says if you need information on this, go here to see that. So really providing a snippet or snapshot of all of the key updates and then links to go get additional information. So that really limits the amount of times we have to meet face to face. And if there is a question that needs to be asked, you can typically do that through email, or if we need to have a key decision meeting or things of that nature, we'll have those set up monthly. And if we don't need them, take them off. But if we do, they're going to be on there. Everyone's going to be available already.
So are you seeing through this then productivity going up in your clients?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
I like that.
Free them up from meetings and you start seeing different things getting done.
Yeah.
So what days are we back in the office?
Next question.
So, every company is trying to have perfected their workflow, especially in startups. We're seeing a lot of this. But while we're trying to sometimes make something good enough, you're also seeing people spending so much time making sure it's perfect before it goes out there, perfecting that perfect first draft. But we are doing drafts. How do you work with these companies to make it good enough for it to start working and then maybe perfect along the way?
Yeah. So in my experience, again, as a program manager, I've had the opportunity to work in agile environments, right? It's one of those keywords that everybody tries to throw out and things of that nature. But being agile means just being able to put a minimum viable product forward and then continue to iterate on making that better. So I find that a lot of startups will get paralyzation from trying to decide on what tool to use or how do I go to market or how do I message, or really what you need to do is just take that first step. Take the action. We'll worry about the other stuff in the future. So I try to work with my clients on, listen, let's not buy all these tools. You don't need all this other stuff right now. We can build all this out for free. Let's worry about who you are and what that core message is. And then we're going to go to market with that and continue to iterate as you grow.
Love it.
Yeah.
I'm just overwhelmed. I'm like all this stuff going in my head right now. Thank you so much for being here today. And if you could leave our listeners with one nugget they can run with once they're done listening to this podcast, what would that be?
Explore AI and don't be afraid to build things out on your own. Everything is possible. The opportunities are endless. You don't need a $100 a month tool to accomplish what it is that you're trying to do.
But also contact you when they can't figure out how to do these things.
Oh, please do. Definitely contact me.
Just making sure.
I'm open to long-term contracts. I'm open to obviously just consulting with you and things of that nature. I just got off a project with work-life benefit consultants here in Troy. And again, great company for small businesses. If you guys are afraid of maybe implementing benefits based on cost, they can get you guys some different tax savings as well as your employees no-cost supplemental benefits. So definitely give them a shout.
I love that he's promoting local businesses too. Look at him knowing how
shameless
chambers
plug.
work. So guys, that's all we have here today on Members of the Mic with the Troy Chamber of Commerce. Special thanks to Evan from ProcessOps for joining us here today.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. And also thank you to our presenting sponsor, Trion Solutions. To learn more about the Troy Chamber of Commerce or for upcoming events, go to troychamber.com. Thanks everyone and have a great rest of your day. Bye now.
Bye-bye.